Today are from the American Red Cross. We welcome Blood Donor Recruitment Manager Scott Dinsmore and Executive Director Judy Harris. Hi, Scott. Judy.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having us, Brian.
So it seems like summer is always a time where the need for blood is greater. Is that true?
Yeah, the need for blood is constant, really and truly. And what we saw with the holiday season of 23 into 24, we saw the highest travel that we've seen since the beginning of the pandemic.
Not on Delta.
Not on But what we've seen is that carry over into the summer. So again, a lot of folks are finally getting out there. They're getting going on vacation and getting away. Now, in the United States, somebody needs blood every 2 seconds. And ultimately, we want to make sure that we have that supply ready to go for any patients as they need them.
And we saw during the pandemic, blood donations were down because there just weren't those blood drives. You couldn't, like at schools, people couldn't gather. Have we improved? Are you back to like pre-pandemic on the blood drives?
That's a great question. Since 2020, nationally, we've seen a drop in donors at about 130,000 donors nationally. We've seen not come back to us. That's why, as you mentioned, we weren't running in high schools. We weren't running in colleges. So we lost that opportunity to recruit those first-time young donors. So that's why at any blood drive, whenever we're out recruiting, we're asking people to join us to come and give not only blood, but to donate their time. Mm-hmm. We always ask those first-time donors to create that habit of giving more than once a year.
We're catching up because a lot of places, they still don't have people working in their buildings.
Oh, yeah.
And we've done a lot of blood drives in businesses, in the state office buildings, government buildings, and a lot of people are working from home still. So we're still trying to catch up and bring back some of those blood donors.
Here's some photos from blood drives. It looks like it's a fun time.
It is, it's great.
Yeah, and giving blood is it's quite easy. A lot of folks are turned away by kind of the what of it, which is the needle. And I always say, if you look at the needle as the what, you got to look at the how and the why. Now, the how, there are phlebotomists. They're the best that are out there. All they do is venipuncture all day. Mm-hmm. But the why is the recipient on the other end. So the why is the person that's waiting for that unit of blood. Now, one unit of blood can be split three different ways: red blood cells, plasma, and platelets. And with that, one unit of blood can help save up to 3 lives.
All right, so now you got to define what these things are, these blood products, plasma and platelets. What's the difference? Like someone getting surgery, they get a different product than someone in another situation?
So that's a great question. The one that I always kind of look to is platelets. So platelets are one of those where if somebody's in a car accident, if somebody needs that immediate unit of blood, they're going to go towards platelets solely because they're going to help clot the blood. So that's what they're using in the emergency situations. But again, we're talking about patients going through cancer treatment, leukemia, lymphoma patients, patients with sickle cell. That's another one where, again, we want to make sure that we have those units readily available, which is why we're constantly, Judy and I are always bringing it up that we're inviting everybody that if you can give blood, to give blood.
Yeah.
And people with certain diseases, cancer, sickle cell, they need blood transfusions all the time. And so that's why we're always collecting blood. It does have a shelf life. And so we do need to constantly be collecting blood so that there's always a supply when somebody needs it. I mean, it's children too, and accident victims, and all kinds of people need blood.
I'm embarrassed to say I don't know what my blood type is. I might know, but it's something I've forgotten. Should we know what our blood type is?
Yeah, knowing your blood type is always beneficial.
Do you know your blood type?
I do. I'm A positive, which means I can never be negative. And again, we're always looking for, as I always say, the so special donors. So our O positive, O negative. Again, those are universal donors, universal recipients. Myself being an A positive, if I was to need a unit of blood, I can use O negative. So again, being able to receive those critical units. Now, when you do give blood with the Red Cross, we do provide you with that information. All you have to do is give blood one time, and we're going to give you your blood type. We're going to tell you that.
And we'll do it on this great app. So I used to always forget my blood type, but now I've got an app on my phone. So I pull that up, there's my blood type. Also, when you give blood and you have that app, a couple weeks later, they'll send you information that says where your blood went. And so like last time I gave blood, my blood went to a hospital in Muskegon. Somebody waiting for my
Oh
particular
wow,
blood
you
type.
can track your blood?
Yep, it's really cool.
Huh. They got ear tags on it?
I think so, something like that.
Can people specify like, oh, I have an uncle that's going to have, complicated surgery. Can I give blood for that purpose?
I've heard that question before. Now, with our donations, when our donors give, we send the blood to where it's needed now.
Mm-hmm.
As Judy had mentioned, blood does have a shelf life of 35 days. So we want to make sure that those units are being put to use immediately. Now, we'll ensure that we're moving that product to the hospital that your uncle's at to ensure that they get it. But yeah, we are always putting our units of blood to where they're needed most nationally.
Does it stay in like those wine boxes?
It's similar, yeah. So we've got the insulated crate
Yeah.
type boxes, yeah.
And it doesn't go like in a big vat in some central office and mixed together.
On tap.
No, it's all separated out. It's an incredible operation. I was really surprised when I first started working at the Red Cross to look at our laboratory and all the people that are sorting and processing and testing the blood for everything. And then we've got a team of volunteers who actually drive the blood all over the state and anywhere the blood needs to go. It's pretty cool.
Are there people that can't give blood by age or by condition or disease?
Yeah. So there's no upper age limit on it. Some of my favorite donors
Really?
are some of our senior donors who show up. And as Judy had mentioned on the app, it tells you where your blood went, it tells you your blood type. It also tells you how many gallons total you've collected over your donation time. So to see those donors come in where they're collecting 30 plus, or they're donating their 30 plus gallon
Wow.
of blood, it's unbelievable. But when you check in at a blood drive, so of course you either go to redcrossblood.org, you go to, you phone 1-800-RED CROSS, you schedule your appointment that way. When you show up, you check in, we take you into our health histories. We'll ask you a multitude of questions, and in that questioning process, if for any reason something doesn't line up, perhaps you're on a new medication that would cause you not to be able to give that day, perhaps your hemoglobin, so your iron levels are too low, you wouldn't be able to donate that day. But we vet all of that out before we get you to the bed and find out.
What's the minimum age for donating?
The minimum age, so with parental consent, so again, we do have consent forms. You can be 16 years or older. At 17, you don't need parental consent. You can come and give anytime you want.
All right, let's go through the process. You get there, you fill out someone asks you the questions,
Yeah.
or you fill it out on a clipboard or something,
Yeah.
and then what?
So so once you've completed that health history, we've gone through, we make sure that you're eligible to give, that your hemoglobin is at the right level to give. We then bring you over to the donation bed. Again, we'll get the donor either lying down or in an inclined position. Our phlebotomists, again, they prepare whichever arm you're going to go with. They'll find the vein, they do the venipuncture. Literally, anywhere from, I've seen 5.5 to 6 minutes.
That's
I've
it.
also seen 10 to 15 minutes. That all depends on how hydrated you are. I tell all of my donors, please hydrate. It makes the process that much faster. And then once you're done, it's everybody's favorite part of the blood drive where they get to go over to the canteen table and eat Cheez-Its and Nutter Butters and drink juice.
My mom used to work as a volunteer at a blood drive, and the ladies of the church, they would have all these restaurants come in, and it was like an unbelievable buffet. They went all out. I think they went overboard. But it's typical. You get just you need a little something
Yeah.
to make sure you're not going to pass out.
Bring your blood sugars back up.
It's actually a pleasant experience. I like giving blood because it gives me a break in the middle of the day. I usually do mine right after lunch, and I can go in and I can just lay there and relax for 15 minutes. Nobody's asking me for anything. I can just sit there and give my blood and save a life, and it feels great.
Do people fall asleep during the thing?
I don't think so.
No?
You have to squeeze a thing while you're there.
Okay.
So you do
Yeah.
have to be a little bit awake. But yeah, my brain can just go off into something else, and I don't have to think about work or disasters or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just giving blood.
Sometimes I'll fall asleep during the haircut.
Especially the shampooing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's relaxing. I think it's a compliment if you fall asleep. when
Yeah,
you're getting
it's just like that.
your
It's just like
hair
getting your
cut.
haircut.
Yeah. Now you provide blood, like that's a lot. You're pretty much it for the country, right?
So we are one of the top blood suppliers. Again, we want to make sure that hospitals have those units readily available. As I mentioned, we did see a drop off in donor presentation. So while we're not at a shortage right now, that need is constant. So we want to make sure that we have that blood supply at a healthy level so that when hospitals do need it nationally, we have it ready to go.
Judy, you told me before the show that blood drives support disaster services. How's that?
Because we're one Red Cross, right? So everything that we do, our training services, our blood services, everything supports the disaster services as well. As you know, disasters are getting bigger and more expensive and more frequent, and so we need all the support we can get. So our blood donation program, our training program, everything helps the disaster programs as well.
And the fact that right now we don't have an urgent need doesn't mean that it couldn't change in a day.
Yeah.
Then do you try to put on emergency blood drives if suddenly we have a reason that there's a shortage?
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty. I mean, log on to redcrossblood.org and type in your zip code. There is always going to be a blood drive going on within your area. Across the state of Michigan, we're running 20 plus blood drives Monday through Friday. So again, you're going to have access to be able to give any day of the week. With that, what I always tell folks, you had mentioned that your mom was a volunteer. Again, there's 3 ways that you can support the blood program. You can host a blood drive, you can donate blood, or you can volunteer. So with that, I always tell folks, if there isn't a blood drive in your community, request one. That's part of my job, whereas I'll help plan, coordinate, and facilitate that blood drive right in your community, and we'll get those donors a place to give.
All right, there you go. Give blood. When's the next one around here?
I believe there's one tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
You will find out more about that at redcrossblood.org. Great to see you both. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
Bart.
you.
From the American Red Cross Mid-Michigan Chapter, Executive Director Judy Harris and Blood Donor Recruitment Manager Scott Dinsmore.